All right, Stephen. In the final round going into tomorrow, what can you lean on from your past Corn Ferry Tour wins that you can take into tomorrow?
You know, I just kind of lean on the work I've done over the last couple, years, couple months. It's great to have some past success, but that doesn't really get you anything. I'm gonna feel it tomorrow. I'm gonna be nervous. It was nice to kind of get some of that out today, some of those nerves and some of those different feelings that you do have going on a day like that. And I felt like for me internally, if I handled it really well, and super happy with how I mentally, kind of attacked the golf course in different places. Now I didn't have my best stuff today, so I'd love to putt a little better, hit a little more fairways tomorrow. But it's golf. I tried my best, and that's all we can do.
Do you think winning is a skill?
I think it's a learned skill. I don't think you wake up and you're automatically a winner or a champion. I think anybody that says differently, I think is wrong. But I think you can definitely learn it. I mean, some of those guys, you see some of the all-time greats. That's definitely a skill. I think it's easier than I think you just make less mistakes. I remember Brooks saying that he just does his stuff in majors, and all of a sudden, here comes Sunday afternoon, he's there. So that's so much harder done than said. But like I said, it's definitely something I've done before. But I'm going to lean on on stuff I've been really working on the last 6 months or a year.
Some of that was the mental stuff that you've worked on. Can you kind of take us through what you've been doing specifically in that area and kind of the priority it is for you now?
Yeah, it's just for me, it was a mindset change in a sense, right? A lot more work towards that, a lot more hours towards that. I had a conversation and we spent 2 hours on chipping and hit an hour of balls and putt for a couple hours, and the mental game kind of gets left behind a little bit. So just doing that, if it's reading, if it's whatever it is, listening to podcasts or journaling, whatever it is part of that. And it's hard to measure that in a sense, but days like that obviously kind of make me realize how much it's helped me for sure.
What have you found that works best on the mental side as far as you just reeled off several things that you do? Is there one that just really rings a bell with you or strikes a chord? Or
I've done so much of it over the last year or two that for me, I got into meditating a couple years ago. It was out of nowhere. I wasn't even working with anybody, and that really kind of started that journey of kind of making sure hey, we need to work on this as well. I still do it every day. It's something that's part of my routine, even at home, even if I'm not playing.
You meditate every day?
Every day.
For how long?
10, 15 minutes. Not very long.
And how do you feel like it has related to the golf course and your play from shot to shot?
Well, not everything I work on is because of the golf course, right? That's kind of the stigma that we golfers just work on mental stuff because we want to win tournaments. I wanted to be a better husband. I wanted to be a better, father to my child. I wanted to kind of be a little more mellow. I used to get pretty angry and frustrated, and wanted to kind of start that trend in the right direction, and that's what kind of started it, and it really helped with golf as well. Now there's a million other things that can be done for the golf course, but it didn't start because of that.
Do you feel better as a person after all this work?
Yeah, I mean, it's you're always a work in progress as a person, and we just had a baby a little over a year ago, so there's new challenges and there's new stressors in our lives that we didn't have before. So to be able to kind of sit in silence for a little bit is really nice and sometimes very much needed.
Who do you work with mentally on the mental side?
I started working with Julie Elliott about 6 months ago, and kind of out of the guy I was caddying for me at the time, knew her, and got in just at the right time before Wyndham won the U.S. Open. I think her phone was probably blown up pretty hard after he did that. So, I did a little bit before that, but it's a lot more structured now than it used to be.
Stephen, you mentioned that you didn't feel you had your best stuff today. One of the things that I hear a lot of guys say after they get their first win is that they learn it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm wondering if you gained some confidence now still being on top of the board after a day like that.
Yeah, I mean, I knew, I've played Torrey Pines enough now that I know you don't go out and shoot 4 or 5 under every day you play the South Course. And I just knew that I was playing good enough, my game was good enough, that if I just mentally stayed sharp and stayed, on course of what I wanted to do, I had a good chance of having a chance on Sunday. That's all I really want. I mean, you want to come in the back nine, you want to have a chance to win. So I've done that. I'm really excited about tomorrow. Today was a blast. I loved it. So I'm excited.